How everybody doing out there today? Hope everyone is having a blessed day. Um, Peace to the family, peace to the guys. Um, I want to talk about the Dr. Umar Breakfast Club interview and what that interview said, spoke to me about, and what was being said. Now, one of the things that Dr. Umar was talking about, he was talking about the black people getting reparations, right? I want to get that dialed up for y'all. He was talking about black people getting reparations, and $233,000 wasn't enough, which is what they're vouching for in California. Um, I have to agree with him to some degree. Um, it's not enough for California, but it's also, it wouldn't repair the black community. And for him being a psychologist that works with African American parents who have kids who are diagnosed with special needs and who are especially medicated, he has some very solid points about what would help turn the black community around as a whole in America. I want to play the clip in which he was speaking about this. Let me dial it up for you guys.
Is only worth 120 in about 24 hours, and then guess what they're going to do after they give the reparations? So we don't take issue over that.
Fair use. I don't own any of this content. Then this is for educational purposes. Yeah.
On the plantation, you had no control how you came into this world. Now, with that being said, it's important that black men and black women, even if they be mixed race Africans, they understand that we will not perpetuate that mistake. Crap is because so much of what needs to be fixed in American society for African people will take more than cash to do it. In other words, I give DJ Injury $233,000. Or if I take the Bob Johnson plan, he said each American African is due $350,000, right? I give you $350,000. Does that stop mass incarceration?
Nope.
Does that stop miseducation? Does that stop gentrification? Does that stop police genocide? Does that guarantee us access to wealth? I mean, in the state of California, what can you get with $233,000? I'm not even sure if that's enough for a house. And on top of that, the minute they give you the payment, they can reduce the value of the payment through inflation. So I can flood the economy with money so the 233 is only worth 120 in about 24 hours. And then guess what they're going to do after they give the reparations to African people? They're going to find subsidy programs to give to the LGBTQ, to the women, to immigrants, to other people. So at the end of the day, what looked like a step up for black people would be a step back. If I was in charge of the reparations conversation, number one, control of all black music must only be done through the black community. No non-African can control our music. Prince, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Biggie, Tupac. If the publishing, if the marketing, if the promotion, if the recording is not controlled by black people.
Now, when you hear all of that, what crossed your mind? I'm going to finish playing the rest. It's like it has a couple more minutes to play so you can get the full thought of everything. But when you hear that, what crossed your mind? So it's not the money that's going to fix the black community, right? I feel like money is the least of our worries. I feel like we have the money. We just don't know how to delegate it And that has to do with infrastructure and mindset. But I'm going to let Dr. Umar finish what he was saying.
That has to change. We own our own music. Nobody can own, sell, produce, publish, promote black music but black people.
Why is that so important?
Because music is one of America's leading export industries. America makes more money off black music than almost anything else that she sells. So if we control the music, we have a steady stream of global revenue where we can build a black Wall Street in every single city in America for black people. That's how much money will be coming in from black music. That's one. Two, all black inventions return to us permanently. Everything we invented is a permanent patent for Africans. And if you want to use it, you must pay us a percentage. The cell phone, we invented that. Internet, that's ours. Helicopter, that's ours. Self-lubricating engine, the microphone, the stop sign, the walkie-talkie. Why are those lights on right now? Because a black man named Lewis Latimer wrote a textbook that taught China, the UK, Canada, and America how to light up a whole city at night. Without Lewis Latimer, you don't get street lights at night. You don't get constant illumination anywhere in the world. So guess what? Anybody running lights, you paying black people. Take back ownership of our music. Take back ownership of our inventions. Next on the list is all the confiscated lands. We had hundreds of thousands of acres of land stolen from us between 1865 and Malcolm's assassination in 1965. We need to put together a research team that's going to investigate all the land that was stolen from African people and return it back. Since most of our people are dealing with homelessness, we have the highest homelessness rate in black America since the 60s. If we can get our land back, that will go a long way to getting a lot of our single mothers and their children off the street. In addition to that, America has about 10 major exports: gold, oil, water, electricity. We get a 25% cut permanently. This is perpetual. Every time America makes a dollar, we get 25 cents of that dollar as part of the reparations payment. American Africans, 60% of us make up 10 states. All 10 of the states that represent 60% of us are seaboarding states. We should automatically control the port so we know what's coming in, what's going out, and we also get a percentage of that. But here's my biggest issue with reparations. Three. One, psychological damages. I'm not hearing enough.
Now, I want to touch on what he just was basically speaking truth to power about. You know, I love it when intellectual people get on platforms like this and they speak their mind and they speak their wisdom and they speak the facts. Now, for the black community, in my opinion, $233,000 each is not going to fix too much. What it will do is boom the economy in America, because we wouldn't do anything but circulate that money right back. But if you gave us what we would truly do, which is resources, you understand me, and products, then I feel like we could not only build our true wealth, but we also could build our infrastructure. And that's what I feel like Dr. Umar was basically stating in this interview. You don't necessarily need money. You do need money to a certain degree, but if you don't have any infrastructure to circulate the money through, you understand me? Food, shelter, education, government, you know, those typical points right there is all you need to have a true. It's not all you need, but there's probably one or two other things that I'm missing. But you get the gist of what I'm saying, that you need these things, you know, and water. You need control over these things to build a true foundation, a true community. Right? And black people don't own any of these things. That's why we don't have true communities. You go to different states in the divided states of America, and these communities have grocery stores. They have banks. You know what I'm saying? They own water companies. You know what I'm saying? The Hispanic communities, the Asian communities. You got Chinatown. You got little Mexican towns erupting around the divided states of America as well. But you really don't never really see like black towns, and you got to ask yourself, why is that? Why is if we have 1.6 trillion dollars in spending power, why is that? And when these points come out of this man's mouth, who is unapologetically black, who believes in solidarity amongst all black people, because he puts the melanin first. You understand me? It's truth to power. What he's saying, you know, and I felt like that wasn't exposed a lot in that interview. Him just breaking that down and what he felt like we needed, versus just giving us $233,000 and leaving us to fend for ourselves. No, there has to be an infrastructure built first before we just take money like that, and we will have to have resources and products first before we just would get a lump sum of money like that a piece, because it wouldn't do anything but cycle the nation, cycle through the nation again, and probably, you know, help America get rid of its national debt that we know that they try to tie everybody to. But I'll let Dr. Umar speak his mind about the psychological trauma behind all the turmoil that the black community goes through.
Of the reparations talking heads discuss enough about the psychological damages. You know you can get far more from what you're owed psychologically than you can ever get for 243 years of unpaid labor on the plantation. The psychological damage is what affects us the most. Every time you see a black man with a white woman, that's psychological damage. Every time you see a black woman with a blind wig on her head, that's psychological damage. Every time you see a little black boy or girl playing with a white doll instead of a black doll, that's psychological damage. When you see a black man take the life of another black man, that's psychological damage. America owes us more for the psychological Holocaust than she can ever owe for the labor. So we need to talk more about that. In addition to that, I don't hear nobody talking about the role the Arabs played in the transatlantic slave trade. I don't hear anybody talking about the role that the European Jews played in the slave trade. I don't hear nobody talk about the role that the Catholic Church played in the slave trade. If we're going to talk about reparations, bring every group that was responsible, those who financed the slave ships.
That'd be Nigerians too, though.
Okay, let's talk about that. There was participation from some African kingdoms.
So I'm gonna cut it right there. That's a very intellectual brother. I feel like ultimately, I would like to see him, Dr. Umar, who else? Rizza Islam, probably like 19 Keys, all getting some type of coalition together and do some things, because you're going to need. I said these brothers not only provoke thought, but they're intelligent and they understand business to a certain degree, and they understand the psychological trauma that America has put on the black community to a certain degree through slavery, through incarceration, through death music. You understand me? So, with all that being said, yeah, I believe, you know, if you just gave Black America $233,000 a piece around the divided states of America, it wouldn't do anything for us long term. They need to give us our resources and our products back. Like he said, give us a portion of the wealth that we helped this country build, so we can repair our community the proper way. Peace to the family. Peace to the gods.